Any adventure you can fly away from. Is that how the saying goes?
Stay alert. Weapons at the ready.
Remain calm. You're human. It's just that we weren't expecting to find life, let alone human life out here. We thought we were the only ones to leave Earth.
You thought you were the only ones? I am afraid you have been unaware of a great many things.
Perhaps we should greet our guests.
Of course. Manners. I'm Captain Diana Brackenridge. This is Security Officer Bomani Reader. And this is Dr. Mabuti da Costa, one of our elders.
A pleasure to meet you.
You've come aboard the Earth colony ship, Constant. Generations ago, we set forth from the planet Earth with the mission of colonizing a new habitable world in the spirit of our ancestors nearly a millennium ago. I see. As you may have presumed, we're in a bit of a bind. Our ship has finally completed its near 200-year journey from Earth, only to find our new home seemingly colonized by, well, we don't know. Communications haven't been successful, so your arrival is fortuitous. Perhaps you'd be willing to act as a middle person between ourselves and the others. We're not entirely sure. Our engineers believe it's possible that our technology just isn't compatible with theirs. All we hear when using them to communicate with anyone is a bunch of disturbing noise. It gave me the heebie-jeebies at first. Well, the short answer is, we didn't. It's a generation ship, which is to say that most of us lived long, happy lives on board and passed our mission down to our children. It was never intended that the original crew would make it to our destination. The goal was always the preservation of the human race above all else. Though, it would seem that was perhaps a bit presumptuous. We do. Well, sort of. We saw structures using our surveying equipment. We've also seen the various ships pass us by. Some even seemed to want to communicate, but couldn't. Of course, we had no idea that they were being piloted by other humans. Ah, your question confirms one of our recent theories. It would seem that some form of faster-than-light travel or space-bending technology was invented during our long journey. That would explain why we would find people this far out into space. I guess technology leapfrogged us at some point. Interesting. I can only imagine that our predecessors didn't believe the technology would ever work, and so they made the decision to leave when they did. Oh yes, of course. Where are my manners? Now then, please follow me. There's much to discuss first. We'll speak more on the matter once we reach the bridge. Dr. da Costa, you may return to your quarters if you wish.
Thank you, Captain.
I will follow you to the bridge, ma'am. For security purposes.
I do not believe we have need to fear our guest, but I'll allow it if you insist. Welcome to the Earth colony ship Constant. In the early 2100s, my ancestor, Rupert Brackenridge, researched a number of scientific scenarios: climate change, asteroid impact, nuclear war, global pandemic, and more. Each scenario showed the likelihood of an extinction-level event to be within 50 years. He fully believed Earth was destined to be rendered uninhabitable. We've always assumed that's what happened. So, he gathered the best and brightest he could find, built the Constant, and set a course for this planet here. We were told that it was the largest, most advanced ship ever constructed on Earth at the time. If you can believe, entire generations have been born, lived, and died on this ship. it really goes to show that there are no limits to human ingenuity and perseverance.
We've got strict rules around here, but they're strict for a reason.
The Constant is a peaceful ship. Don't change that.
So, here we are. Let's talk.
I am both shocked and impressed that all of this is still functional.
I think I'm coming up on 6 years now. I was only a teenager when my father died, passing command of the ship to me, as is tradition. Because of that, I've had to sort of learn as I go along, instead of taking years of study and apprenticeship under the prior captain. I think some people on the ship resent me for not having the level of experience as my predecessors. But at the same time, without my command, we likely wouldn't have made it here so quickly. A bit frazzled, as you can imagine. People are anxious about discovering that we're not alone, and also worried about what will come to pass. While we hope we can work out a deal with the people on the surface, they seem reluctant to reach out, so there's no telling what will come of that. I do know that we can't afford to stay here in orbit forever. The ship was built to sustain us for many years with backup provisions just in case, but even that will come to an end eventually. Difficult is the wrong word. It can be both challenging at times and also exciting. Our mission was to rebuild humanity on a distant world, believing that we were Earth's last hope. To think that while there has always been a Brackenridge in the captain's chair, that I am the one to finally oversee our journey's end is truly exhilarating. But with this stumbling block in our path, at this final moment, I fear tough choices will need to be made. Well, as I mentioned, we've been unsuccessful in communications with anyone up until you arrived, though not for lack of trying. But since you're asking, maybe you'd be willing to be a sort of diplomat between us and them as we attempt to resolve our situation. Does that sound agreeable to you? We suspect that our equipment is woefully obsolete compared to whatever you all have now. In all honesty, we never expected to need to communicate with anyone, so our comms aren't particularly robust. That limits our options. We even attempted communicating with lights and sounds, something we saw in an old movie, but I don't believe they picked up on it. If anything, it may have inadvertently alarmed them. We know there's a settlement on the planet below, meaning people were here before us. You see, we intended to settle here, but we assumed that they intend to defend their claim given their presence here. We'd like you to go speak to them on our behalf and help us negotiate a solution, preferably one that favors us. Based on the data our ancestors had when they launched this endeavor, it was determined that this was the perfect planet for us. Even if we had another viable candidate planet, we lack the resources to get there. And as you know, it took us 200 years to get here. Our people have no desire to go back to drifting the stars so their children's children can possibly settle on an inferior planet. When we left Earth, there were no claims to planets this far out into space. We had assumed that we were the only ones attempting a generational journey such as this, meaning that there would be no need for a formal claims process. Regardless, my ancestor, Rupert Brackenridge, did manage to file a charter for this planet's first colony, to be named New Jamestown. According to his records, no one took it seriously when he filed it, so likely it was either ignored or the records were lost to the ages. Given humanity's lack of interest in colonizing the far reaches of space at the time, it shouldn't have been a problem, but again, here we are now. Yes, of course. But we need to start from a firm position and state our goal. If need be, we can compromise, work out a mutually beneficial deal or some such, but initially I'd like you to be firm with them and convince them to leave the planet to us. Let me know how they respond, and we'll go from there. We thought about it, but it simply won't do. I need to think about the distant future of our people. Sure, our first settlement may be small, but our predecessors dreamt of our new civilization spreading across the globe. That will be difficult if someone else plans to do the same. While we're not completely close to the idea of sharing, it's much easier if we have complete domain over this world. Now, it makes little sense to give up before you try. Thank you, and good luck.
I wonder what it's like out there. Beyond our...
These are exciting times, aren't they?
We're getting some slight power fluctuations in the heating and cooling system control.
We've got work to do. Let's get to it.
What should they?
I wonder what else is out there. Boy, am I glad you weren't some sort of alien or something.
Sure is nice to know there are other people out there.
I've lived my entire life in the constant. Hey. And to think, all this time we thought we were alone. Never seen a ship like yours before. And again, I haven't seen any
Find the interior of this ship comforting.
Mr. Tofik, I am aware that this is your... Eighth visit to our resort. Your repeat patronage is much appreciated. Is there any assistance I may offer you today?
We've got some of the best private security in the settled systems.
Welcome to Paradiso. Jiro Sugiyama at your service. Do you have a security concern, or is there something else I can help you with? Honestly, it's not as exciting as you might think most of the time. More often than not, we're just handling drunk and disorderly conduct. Heck, even pirates leave us alone for the most part. I think it's because some of them actually vacation here. As long as they're not bothering anyone, we've been told not to worry about them. Neither. We're our own private force. The Paradiso group pays top dollar for top-notch security. And I dare say we're some of the best in the business. We have to be out here on the fringes of the settled systems. Something I can help you with? Ah, yes. Let's get right to it then. As you can imagine, we've got a predicament on our hands. Under normal circumstances, we would not enlist outside help in this manner. But this is a matter we can't afford to worry our guests about. As such, we need to handle this discreetly. Failure on your part to do so could have severe consequences. So, before we proceed, can you swear not to discuss this with anyone else unless explicitly directed to do so? You're right. We're not. Which means we're not bound by anyone's laws but our own. In other words, it's our system and our rules. Neither the UC nor the Freestar Collective will help you if you get into trouble here. I understand you're eager to get into it, but if you're unwilling to take this seriously, I can foresee problems in your future. Not too long ago, a strange and enormous ship appeared in Parima space. It is now locked in orbit around our planet. So far, it doesn't seem to be hostile, but any attempts to communicate with it have been in vain, so we're unsure of the ship's intentions. I see. Not something we anticipated. In order to reach a solution, you'll want to go speak with Oliver Campbell, CEO for the Paradiso Group. I'll let him know you're on your way.
That was quite it.
Hello.
I'm here to satisfy your needs. I hope your stay is a
I cannot call anyone.
Excuse me, you can't just waltz in there. Do you have an appointment? I really don't, and I can't have you barging in on the executives while they're working. So if you need something, you can talk to me. That's the best I can do, I'm afraid. Oh, you're the one they're waiting for then. Do you need anything else from me before you meet with the board? What I could tell you would get me in a lot of trouble. Most of them are typical C-level execs. I doubt you even need to use your imagination for that. The ones that show up to work day to day, at least. I swear, I've never even met some of them, because they chill at their own private, secluded beach homes all the time. Anyway, be smart around Oliver. He's got a way of getting what he wants without you realizing it. And that's all I'll say. People were a little freaked out around here, understandably. It looks so different and it's so massive. We honestly thought we were under attack by an unknown entity. But then, nothing happened. It just stayed there. No one could communicate with it. And we've been very careful not to alert the resort guests. The board believed it would be bad for business. I can't speak for anyone else, but I've got a pretty high-pressure job working as the executive assistant to the Paradiso board. You can imagine, dealing with a team of execs, trying to manage all of their schedules and their other whims. But it pays well, and they give me a nice executive suite at the hotel to live in, so it's not all bad. Free access to all the resort's amenities after work helps too. Sure, have fun in the Shark Tank. And don't worry, even they call it that.
I just feel that we should be focusing on the natural beauty of this planet, not our amenities.
There are millions of planets out there. People can go to any one of them. The resort facilities are precisely what we bring to the table. Heck, it's the only thing we've really got to offer.
I don't want to risk us coming off as just another artificial, shady, trash-filled dump like Neon. That's not who we are. We've got something special here. We should embrace that.
Balom's right.
Thank you.
We don't want to compete with Neon. Bayou's ruthless. He'll do anything he can to eliminate the competition. We don't need that kind of trouble. That being said, I think there's a middle ground. Maybe build up the beachfront at a boardwalk amusement park. I've had this idea to build artificial hot springs, that sort of thing.
Sounds good. I'll look into what that will cost us and we can circle back around to this.
Just doing my part to make sure Paradiso remains a paradise.
If it's not important, bring it up with Kiwi. You're lucky I'm not like the other board members, lazing about the beaches without a care in the universe. Not quite. We just don't answer to the Freestar Collective or the United Colonies. Makes things easier. We don't pay any taxes, we don't need to follow their laws. All the benefits, none of the drawbacks. And no one minds, because half the politicians and other big shots love vacationing here. Works for everyone. We, the Paradiso Group, bought the rights to this planet years ago with the intent of turning it into the biggest and best resort in the universe. To that end, I'd say we've succeeded. As such, no other leisure enterprises may operate on the planet without renting land from us. But as you can see, none can afford such a deal. No, of course not. There's several more. We're just the ones who show up day to day. The others spend their time lazing on the beach or gallivanting off-world. Doesn't bother me, though. Less cooks in the kitchen means I get to make all the big decisions around here. Seems to be working out for us just fine.
I am. And you must be the diplomat Jiro told me about.
Welcome, welcome. Normally I'd offer you an all-inclusive stay at our resort before we spoke. But given the circumstances, I'm going to cut to the chase. We've got our friends, the aliens, up there causing all sorts of problems for our resort. You like that? The marketing team came up with it. The thought is, if we can't get rid of them, it might actually attract more tourism. Come see the aliens! We run a premier resort getaway here. We can't have our guests concocting stories about some bodgy old ship hanging around up there. As it is, we've had to reroute our luxury liners round the other side of the planet on entry so no one sees it. It's bad for business. We need to nip this in the bud and take care of it before the tourists catch on and cause a scene. Ah, we're being direct then. Good on you. So, what do you know about this dodgy ship I'm hearing all about? I'd say you're full of it and might have been watching too many movies. Now, instead of wasting my time, want to tell me what it really is? Well, that's something. Shame we can't just tell them kindly to bugger off. Something tells me that's not going to work. Now, tell me, what are we going to do about it? Give me some proposals, people. I need something to work with here.
We could offer to resettle them here. There's more than enough space.
They could stay here, temporarily, but it'll cost them. Quite a bit, too. They'd need to work off all their debts before being allowed to leave.
Maybe not. What if we help them get out of here? Outfit their ship with a grav drive so they can find a new home. We could even lend our engineers to help and give their captain an updated star map. What do you think?
Sounds costly. We can't absorb that cost, and it's unlikely they even have compatible currency, let alone enough for the transaction. Someone else would have to foot the bill.
Oh, I swear this would be a lot easier if they ceased to exist entirely. Anyway, Seema's got the right idea. Either works for me. Just tell me what you want to do. We own this planet, they don't. Here at Paradiso, we don't like leaving things to chance. Who knows what these people will do with their land? Imagine the landscaping disasters they might come up with, and how that might mar the satellite imagery of the planet in our brochures. No, much better to assimilate them into our culture if they come here to live, rather than leave it to chance. Well, absurd or not, that's our official stance. I make the decisions that are best for our entire group. You don't. We operate outside of the Free Stars only, you see, partially because we don't want anyone else meddling in our affairs. And we'd rather not draw attention to it. As I've mentioned, it could be bad for business. We'd much rather settle this independently. I'm not suggesting anything, other than it would make our lives so much easier if that ship ceased existing. Make of that what you will. It's not our responsibility to bear the brunt of that cost. We're being more than generous by offering the use of our engineering team to help install it. A custom grav drive can't come cheap, and I assume they have neither the monetary means nor the connections to get a hold of that kind of technology. That leaves the only other party in this negotiation. You. Oh, I didn't say that specifically. This would be a mutual contract for room and board in exchange for services rendered. Of course, there's no telling how long this arrangement will last, given the substantial costs we'd need to take on in order to accommodate them here, including their continued room and board. But this may save the resort on operating costs in the long term, as we'd be able to let go of some of our current paid staff. And which proposal will you be taking to the good captain? I assume there's a captain? They'd be hard-pressed to defend their claim in any courts. Our charter goes back years. It was registered with both the UC and Freestar Collective, per the Centaurus Proclamation. We may be outside the settled systems, but that charter's official as can be. I'm sorry, but you're going to need to be the one to break the news to them that they need to make a compromise or leave. I have no idea, because I'm not suggesting anything of the sort. But it's a wonder that old ship made it all the way here in such a relatively short time. Must have really been pushing themselves. An engineer friend of mine told me once that the reactors on those old ships have a tendency to self-destruct if they overload. Of course, their engineers must have taken great care not to push it too far. Someone would likely have to override the safety systems in the reactor computer. But who would do such a thing?
I hope you are not asking what I think you are asking.
Ah, good on you. You want to see a man named Benny St. James over at Hope Tech. He's the best in the business. If anyone can retrofit a 200-year-old ship with a modern grav drive, it'd be him. We'll coordinate our engineering team with his when you return, though you may have to help the Constance engineers prepare for it on their end. Good luck.
They deserve a renewed chance to decide their own fates. That is the right thing to do.
Right. On behalf of the Paradiso Group, we appreciate your help.
These days, I'd love to experience this.
I can see why this location was chosen for a resort. Very nice.
You've entered Freestar Collective space. Maintain your current course while we scan for contraband. Scan complete. You're clear to land.
Smugglers always like to use Hope-Tech ships to resemble legitimate transports. I wonder how the company feels about that.
same as usual, except now. Excuse me, a little Sprint here.
A fair amount of business runs through Hopetown, and from what I understand, most of it is legal.
I don't want to hear any complaints.
I have never liked Hopetech ships, though I suppose that is hardly the point of them.
Tech needs brave new innovations. We're so much more than space freight. Well, all of them. I've been with Mr. Hope since near the beginning. I think he appreciates my attention to detail and my focus on the fundamentals. Although he has been hinting that the R&D budget may dry up if I don't produce results. Oh, it's marvelous. Generally, they only care about efficiency, cost-effectiveness, and reliability. Oh, sure, there are the odd complaints about comfort and lack of decent airflow, but they almost always side with the numbers. Sure, that sounds like me. What can I do for you? I'm a little busy, but I think I could spare some time. Oh, you should have just said that. Of course I can help you. Oliver sent a courier ahead of you. I did some research on ships from that era, and I have a decent idea what we're dealing with. So grav drives didn't really take off until after the ship was built. But I've got access to an ancient grav drive that looks like it could be compatible. With some minor adjustments. It's in good shape, too. Parts not cheap, though. Neither is the labor. Just pay the combined cost of parts and labor, and it's yours. It's a pretty big ask, given how rare these old grav drives are. True. I keep telling myself I'm holding on to it for the right time. Perhaps this is that right time. Yeah, I hope so. You think I'm a pushover? You know, I have to make a living too. And Hope Tech can't just give away parts for free. Sorry, but I've got to charge you the same price as everyone else. You're darn right it is. I'll get to work on it right away. I recommend you go back to the ship and ask the captain to prepare for its retrofit. Standard stuff. I'm sure they have an engineer on board to help. We'll send the part along when it's ready. Pleasure working with you.
Will we be taking off immediately?
Welcome to the Freestar Collective. Please maintain your current course while we scan your ship. All right, you're good. Welcome to Neon.